Here's the moment that broke my brain. I had a web agent trying to post to LinkedIn. It worked Monday, Tuesday, LinkedIn changed one button. The whole thing died. I rebuilt it Wednesday, broken again. This is the dirty secret nobody talks about with web agents. Now, there's a new approach called Drive that separates what the agent is trying to do from how the website works underneath, and it changes everything I thought I knew about building automation. Most people think web agents are basically solved. You see the demos, ChatGPT books a flight, Claude orders groceries, looks magical, but the reality is brutal. I've been building automation inside Ame for months. The agents that look perfect in a demo break the second a website updates its layout. Most builders are stuck in this loop: build, break, rebuild, break again. The Drive architecture is the first thing I've seen that actually addresses the root cause. And today I'm breaking down exactly how it works and why it matters. If you're building anything that touches a real website, let me set the stage. Inside my company, Ame, I run a content pipeline that posts across LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and a few others. One of the pieces is a Safari-based LinkedIn poster. It uses macOS automation to click through the post flow. Sounds simple. It is not simple. LinkedIn quietly changed how their post composer renders the editor, OTM. It moved from normal text input to a shadow DOM quill editor. My agent didn't know, and it typed into the wrong element. So 12 posts published as empty drafts before I caught it. This is the daily reality of web automation. The website is a moving target. The agent assumes the world is frozen, and every time someone ships a UI tweak, your automation silently breaks. Traditional web agents bake the task and the interaction into the same brain. So when the interaction changes, the whole task collapses with it. Like, that's the gap Drive is trying to close. Drive stands for the idea of decoupling reasoning from interaction, the cleanest way I can describe it. A normal web agent has one big model that thinks about what to do and figures out how to click at the same time. Drive splits that into two layers. The top layer is the task planner. It only thinks in abstract steps. Open the LinkedIn composer, paste the body, click publish. That's it. No mention of CSS selectors, no mention of XPath, no mention of shadow DOM. The bottom layer is the interaction layer. Its only job is to translate an abstract step like paste the body into the specific clicks, keystrokes, and DOM operations needed on the current version of the page. Think of it like a chef and a kitchen. The chef knows the recipe. The kitchen layout might change. As long as you have someone who knows the kitchen, the chef doesn't need to relearn cooking every time you renovate. Here's why this matters in the real world. When LinkedIn changed their composer, my old agent's entire reasoning collapsed because the click pattern was hard-coded into the task. If I'd been running something Drive-shaped, only the interaction layer would have needed updating. The planner would still say, paste the body. The interaction layer would just learn that paste now means typing into a shadow DOM quill instance instead of a text to read. The task survives. This is a huge deal for anyone running automation at scale. In OA, I touch maybe 15 different websites between local AI hub, Mohawk Metables, the analytics dashboards, the CRM. If every UI update broke every flow, I'd be doing nothing but firefighting. The split also lets you reuse interaction knowledge. Once the bottom layer learns how to handle a shadow DOM quill editor on LinkedIn, that same skill transfers to any other site using Quill. You're building a library of interaction primitives instead of one-off scripts. Now, here's the part that actually got me excited. Drive doesn't just split the layers. The interaction layer is designed to keep learning. Every time it encounters a new pattern on a website, that pattern gets stored. So the agent on day 30 is meaningfully better than the agent on day 1. Not because the model got smarter, but because the interaction memory got richer. This is different from traditional fine-tuning. You're not retraining weights. You're growing a structured memory of how specific websites behave. In my own work, I've been building something similar inside the posting pipeline called the Brick Library. It stores reusable content templates that already perform well. Drive does the same thing, but for interactions. The DOM pattern that successfully posted to LinkedIn last Tuesday gets stored. When the planner asks the interaction layer to post again, the agent reaches for the stored pattern first, then falls back to fresh exploration only if the pattern fails. This is why Drive style agents are claimed to keep getting more reliable on the same sites over time instead of degrading like most automation does. Let's get practical. Where does this approach actually win and where does it not? It wins anywhere. You have a long-running agent touching websites you don't control, social media posters, CRM data entry, e-commerce product updates, research scrapers, anywhere the underlying site is going to change and you need the automation to survive. It does not magically solve auth flows, CAPTCHAs, or rate limits. Those are still their own problem. It also doesn't replace good error handling at the edges. If a site goes down entirely, the agent still needs a fallback. The other honest limitation is that the split adds complexity. You're now maintaining 2 layers instead of 1. For a quick one-off script, that's overkill. For a system you're going to run every day for a year, it's worth the upfront cost. The way I think about it, if the automation is going to outlive 3 UI updates on the target site, you want Drive style separation. If it's a single run, just write the script. You don't need to wait for a perfect implementation to use the idea. The mental model is the win. 3 things you can do today. First, audit any automation you've already built. Find the places where task logic and interaction logic are tangled together. That's your fragility point. Second, refactor toward the split. Write task steps in plain language at the top of your script. Have your interaction code live in a separate module that takes those plain language steps and figures out the clicks. Third, start a memory file. Every time you fix a broken selector or learn a new DOM pattern on a site you care about, write it down in a structured way. JSON works, YAML works. Just having that file means next time the site breaks, you have a starting point instead of a blank screen. I've been doing this with my own posters, and the time to fix when something breaks has dropped from hours down to minutes. The pattern works even without Drive, the model. The architecture is the lesson. Step back for a second. The reason Drive matters beyond just being a clever architecture is that it points at where reliable AI agents actually have to go. The current wave of agents is trapped in this trade-off. Either you build something general that's unreliable on real websites, or you build something brittle that only works until next Tuesday. Drive is one of the first credible answers to that trade-off. Separate the part that needs to be general from the part that needs to be specific. Let each one improve on its own timeline. This is the same principle behind how human experts actually work. A doctor doesn't relearn medicine every time a hospital renovates. A pilot doesn't relearn flying when an airport changes its gates. The expertise lives at the right altitude. AI agents have been failing because we keep building them at the wrong altitude. Drive is a step toward fixing that, and whether or not this specific model becomes the standard, the architecture is going to influence everything that comes next. What would you add to this list? Comment below.